I mentioned it before, but NightMare, he did take a break from the game. NightMare, he has been competing in Deadlock instead. He's been spending his time competing in Deadlock, spending his time, on other things. So because of that, NightMare has been very inactive. He's been very inactive. He has not been competing in online tournaments. I'm referring to KSL, Wardy TV Monday, Sparkling Tuna Cup, Pegasaur Monday. Like, these are tournaments that NightMare was a regular in, not anymore. So there's a little bit of ambiguity around NightMare and his current form. For now, though, we're jumping in. We're jumping into our fresh best of 3 and spawning in the top right corner of Tokamak. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Protoss player representing Streamer Zone. It is NightMare. We go. Are going to be settling in and calming things down. Now, I mentioned earlier, when it comes to Rogue's style, he does have a certain preferred play style when it comes to Zerg versus Protoss and Zerg versus Terran. If you've been watching Rogue, you would know that more often than not, he does play towards the late game. More often than not, he does play towards a Lurker Tech army, towards gearing up, getting into +1 range early on, into Hydras early on, into early Hive, into early Lurkers. Then he can turtle up, defend, and then overwhelm. That's usually how he does to prefer to play out these matchups. I'm not saying he can't do other things, of course. They definitely can. He can be more aggressive and more assertive. He can mix in more aggressive builds from time to time, just saying his more preferred style. So we'll see if he does embrace that here against NightMare. From the side of NightMare, again, to me, he's more of a question mark. He was very active. He was very active in October, November, December, January, right? It's like in the beginning of the off season of EPT is when NightMare was all over all the online tournaments. He was very active, but then he kind of ran out of steam a little bit. Maybe he got burned out because he was playing in so much. Maybe he got a little bit burned out and took a bit of break from the game. As I mentioned, been playing other games instead. But now he's back and he qualified for GSL. That definitely stands for something here. But how does he compare to Rogue? What is his PvZ looking like? Back in the day, when I say back in the day, I mean like 5 months ago, NightMare, he was relatively standard when it came to his PvZ. He wasn't too aggressive, too assertive. From time to time, he would mix in Glaive Adepts, true, but he wasn't really one to cheese too much or try to do anything too unorthodox. But now, Stargate Opener. So I'm happy to be reintroduced to NightMare. And so now, Stargate Opener out of our Protoss, most likely into Oracle. But now, Rogue going Hatch Gas Pool, Unnatural Natural, followed by the third base. We're just joining up. And welcome one and all to Tokamak. Tokamak is one of the larger, more macro maps in the map pool. If there were a map where players wanted to be more defensive, turtle up, tech up, and get into a longer, later game, this is arguably the best map for it. Maybe even better than Maganatha, just because the bases are so much more defendable. Void Ray. Okay, Void Ray first out of NightMare. So NightMare, his goal here is to hide his tech. Now, he could be hiding something very real or something fake. This could be a Void Ray into a second Stargate, into a Fleet Beacon, into Sky Toss, or this could be a Void Ray into an Oracle, into a third base, into +1 Blink Stalkers. Ooh, that is an early Twilight Council. This screams, this feels like Glaive Adepts. Once again, I say that with a little bit more uncertainty, just because NightMare has been gone a little bit longer, so I don't know if he's known for like these more standard responses. Technically, you can try to like pull out a gas and get like charge and go for like a Zealot all in, but this should be Glaives, in my mind at least. As Void Ray does move out. We should be seeing extra gateways momentarily here for that Twilight Council. And yep, there it is, Glaive Adepts. Okay, we're sane. Okay, we're doing what's normal. We're doing what's standard. So Void Ray opening to Glaive Adepts. This is a cheeky build. This is designed to punish a Zerg player that is skipping roaches. And Rogue, he is one to skip roaches from time to time. I mentioned before that Rogue, his preferred style is to go into Hydra, into Lurker Tech. So to do so, you do typically want to skip roaches, get into early Eva Chamber, into +1 melee, into Ling Hydra. If that's the case, then NightMare could find a lot of success. But now what do we see? Drones. Now we are reaching the 5-minute mark and there's still no Evo chamber. It feels like a Roach Warren. Yep, there it is. Roach Warren's on the way. By now, if it was going to be Ling Hydra, we would have already seen an Evo chamber for +1 melee. So lack of Evo chamber screams Roach Warren, so Rogue is playing safe. So safe play by Rogue. This means that he will have the tools to defend. He will have access to roaches to defend against the Glaive Adepts. Adepts are amassing, they're building up, and they will soon move out. Now, this doesn't have to kill, but it does have to get damage done. Ideally, you do get some economic damage here, otherwise NightMare will fall behind. What's the downside of this build? Well, late Blink, late Forge, late upgrades, late tech. A lot of things are delayed here in favor of Glaive Adepts, so they have to trade well. Well enough. As there is that Blink follow-up. Adepts are moving out. NightMare going for a proxy pylon, interesting. And Rogue, he just abandons his third base. Yeah, it does pull away, does abandon. Mineral walks past. Very interesting wall, actually. Okay, I did not know that. But there we go, Roaches are popping out. Queen's coming for some transfuse. And NightMare, he gets no damage. He kills one Roach. Does kill one Roach. He has to get the hell out of here. And NightMare's now in a rough position. As I said, the worker counts are deceptively even, that is true, but remember the tech is behind for NightMare. That's what's important here. The quality of the army is looking worse and worse for NightMare as time goes on. Meanwhile, 3-base all-in. It's going to be 3-base all-in here. NightMare, how many gateways are we on? We have 4. We have 6 gates back at home and a proxy 7th gateway across the map. Rogue, he did scouts and he's going for it. Going for the proxy. Will knock it down. Roaches are amassing. +1 range on the way. Roach speed. I did notice Overlord speed as well, but looks like that was cancelled. Oh. As Rogue is getting caught out. Has to respect the Stalkers. Does pull away. And this is going to be a 7-gate all-in, but nicely Realmite does Night Mining for a time. Oh. Slips in. Yeah, it does slip in as well. Gets into the mineral lines. Will force defensive warp-ins. Probes are going to be going down, and this is delaying the all-in from NightMare. And again, I was curious if NightMare was going to try to play out a more standard macro game. The answer is no. Nope, not at all. As NightMare still posturing now behind this, Templar Archives has been thrown down. Does have 4 gases in total. Has full saturation at the 3rd. But the proxy was depowered. Oh, this is a rough decision. Yeah. Forge. Templar Archives, Forge, gases are being taken. Basically what's happening, initially, NightMare was going all in. The all-in has been shut down. The all-in has been denied, and now we see NightMare trying to transition out of the all-in into a longer macro game, but everything is so late. I mean, there's still no upgrades. He's with 0-0, +1 about to finish. We have Rogue doubling down, going into Burrow and Tunneling Claws. Now here comes that next step. Hydrogen, Infestation Bit, Lurker Tech. Lurker Tech is on the horizon, but I'll be honest, I don't think Rogue needs it. I don't think he needs the Lurker Tech. I think he's fine just committing to Roach Ravager. Does move out. Stalker's out of position. Shield Rider's not ready. The High Templar exposed. And Storm is not done. Massive surround. The 3, 4, 5 High Templar going to be falling. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, NightMare caught with his pants down, but again, he was already behind. The all-in did fail. Lings they surround the Archons, piles in the mineral line. And Rogue, he will break this base. Yes, he is taking up in towards Hydras, towards Lurkers, towards Hive Tech, but he doesn't need it. No shot. Doesn't need it. He will break the 3rd. And NightMare is just going to be torn apart. As down goes the 3rd base. I mean, he was already all in to begin with, but now he has no economy. That was the one thing he could try to rely upon. And Rogue just started stepping forward, going into the natural, borrowing it. Let's go. No detection. He gets in, Bob. He gets in. Let's go. GG gets called. And Rogue will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Hyper aggression out of NightMare again. As I mentioned at the start of the series, I wasn't really sure what to expect from NightMare considering how inactive NightMare has been. Coming into this, we had the Void Ray opener into Glaive Adepts into 3-base all-in with Blink Stalker. Unfortunately, Rogue played safe, so the initial Glaive Adepts didn't do any damage. It was really cool to see that wall, by the way. I want to like shed a light on the spore wall that he had, where he had enough room to actually mineral walk the drones into the natural and also defend the wall as well and defend that natural base. So Rogue, he was really well set up early on, and then of course he was able to scout the proxy, so he could shut down the all-in before it really got going, and it was just a really rough game from there for NightMare. Just couldn't quite stabilize, and with that, GG, well played. Rogue takes the lead in the series, and now we are jumping into game number 2, jumping into Maganatha. Let's go. Hello there. I'm gonna be in Bulgaria for the tournament next. I mean, you're crazy. I'm in Australia, papi. I think I'm gonna fly to Bulgaria. I would love to, don't get me wrong, I'd love to, but unfortunately not. I believe they have their own talents, they have their own casters that they're flying over. But yeah, shout out to the people behind the scenes, working on Stars Agora, working on Bellum Gen Stars Agora, I should say. A big tournament happening in Bulgaria. Some amazing players, some amazing talents are all going to be there, and we'll be watching from afar. Unfortunately, won't be traveling for that one. But regardless, we're now stepping into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom hand corner of Maganatha, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Team Falcons, leading the series 1-0. It is Rogue. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Streamer Zone. It is NightMare. Hashtag bring light to Bulgaria. The dream, papi, the dream. No. Unfortunately, as you can imagine, it's very difficult to travel anywhere from Australia. I was fortunate enough to be able to travel to IM Katowice last year. That was like my first and possibly only big offline event that I've been to, and it was a blast. I really enjoyed my time there at I guess the last IM Katowice of StarCraft 2. So I can say that I was there at least. Yeah, whether it's like a DreamHack Dallas or a Home Story Cup or a Stars Agora, it's not quite feasible to travel that far. It's quite expensive, as you can imagine. Just because Australia is so far away from everything. It's unfortunate. I'm definitely envious for people that are in Europe or in the Americas, just because travel is a little bit closer. If there's an American event or a European event, or in the general area, it's a little bit more, quite a bit more cheaper to travel for that sort of thing. But yeah, I recommend if anyone's in the area, if anyone's a big fan of StarCraft, to head to Stars Agora to be a part of that event. We don't know how many more offline tournaments we're going to have in StarCraft 2, so we should cherish them while we can. Cherish them back. Don't be like me, where I was never able to go to like a BlizzCon or like a Pro League finals or a GSL finals. I feel like if you've never been to any of these things, and if you have the opportunity to go, like, I feel like it's worth going, especially if you're a big fan of StarCraft. If it's feasible, if it's viable, consider it. Otherwise, we're settling in. Otherwise, we do have our initial opener here, Stargate opener out of NightMare. Once again, going for a standard opener. Meanwhile, Rogue going hatch, gas pool, nothing crazy, nothing wild, settling in. And welcome one and all to Maganatha. Maganatha is the largest map in the map pool, so once again, if we wanted to be more economic, if we wanted to turtle up and tech up, this is the map for it. But if you remember, I said the same thing about Tokamak and NightMare all in. So once again, a Void Ray opener out of NightMare. Now, this doesn't mean it has to be Glaive Adepts again, but it could be. That's the benefit of a Void Ray opener, is that the opener looks the same, because it's all that you see, the Void Ray, before the Overlord dies. So this could be Void Ray into Fleet Beacon, into Skytoss, it could be Void Ray into Glaive Adepts, or it could be Void Ray into a standard game. Rogue does keep pushing. Rogue, he does get eyes on the Oracle. Nice scouts. Does confirm the Oracle. Remember, last game there was no Oracle, it was Void Ray straight into the Twilight Council, so already Rogue sees that it's more of a standard game. And technically this could be a fake out, and NightMare could cancel and then just throw down the Twilight Council. But for the most part, Rogue keeps confirming. He also gets eyes on the third base. Everything looking standard so far. And the link gets Jesus. And somehow Rogue, he slips in a Zergling, gets a free scout, and he does confirm. He confirms the Oracle was not cancelled and that there's no hidden tech. So Rogue is looking very comfortable. Is looking comfortable. Adepts are moving out, Oracle as well. Back at home, Rogue happily droning up, and if there were to be a game here where Rogue could drone up and tech up and get into Ling Hydra, this would be it. So far, he's set up for it. Adepts are caught out. Hello. Now, this is interesting. That is a Twilight Council, that's a Gateway Explosion. There's no Forge. Typically, we would see a Forge alongside this to go into +1 Blink Stalkers, but without a Forge, this is looking a little bit more sinister. This is looking more aggressive than we otherwise would expect. What do you have for us? Is this still going to be Blink? Now, I'm brought back to last game. A couple of things happen as the Void Ray is going to force a cancel. Oh, Lings, they catch a couple of units. Queens, they respond in time, and the Void Ray, it's going to be close. Oh, can he get it? Oh, no shot, no shot. He will not get the expansion. Void Ray takes a lot of hits and the base will survive. Now, what I was getting at here, if you recall, last game, NightMare did open Glaive Adepts, and then he followed it up with an attempted 7-gate 3-base all-in. I'm curious if NightMare has something else planned similarly. I'm a little bit confused just because gases are being taken. Gases being taken means that we're teching, and we are teching into Storm. But no Forge. The lack of Forge is throwing me off just because it does mean that NightMare is going to be falling behind in the upgrade department. And that's usually not done if you're macroing. But you also don't tech up like this if you're going for a 3-base all-in. So, yeah, this is a quirky build. And now we get a delayed Forge, but faster Storm. So that's kind of like the trajectory of the tech here that we've gone for. So we are building up into a longer game, but upgrade's going to be later in favor of faster Storm. And now we get the Gateway Explosion. Ooh, Legs, they force out another Archon. Likewise, recall back home. Oracle Zoo turn back around. And Rogue so far looking solid. Rogue is looking solid. Behind this, what do we have? Plus on range. Plus on range, Hydras. It does look like we are tacking up even further here, getting into Ling Hydra. This is what we expected out of Rogue to begin with, but he did have to make Roaches last game because of the Glaive Adepts. And the question becomes, does Rogue drone up his 4th? The answer, yes. We already have the answer. He's droning. He is droning up. He is saturating his 4th base. With 4-base saturation, that's when we should be seeing infestation pits. So no tech yet. We're still keeping our eyes open. Rogue caches the Void Ray, nicely done. Rogue, he does cut workers at 75. That is going to be 3.5 base saturation, and he's moving out. And here comes that infestation bit again. He's taking up behind this, working towards Hive. So there we go. Hive tech and lurker production on the horizon. Rogue is being active. You can see he's checking for a 4th. And that's where I have to say I'm a little bit surprised. Where is the 4th base? There should be one. And Rogue, he's checking. He's checking for a 4th base. He's confirming there is no 4th. He did drone up to 82. He's getting up to 4-base saturation. But NightMare is looking quite committed here. Where is the expansion? It's late. Is a late base. Again, we had all these gateways finishing up. But NightMare, it's almost like he's playing scared here. And now he's teching. Stargate, Fleet Beacon, going into Sky Toss. This does look a little bit frazzled here from NightMare. It's like it's a little bit all over the place. We teched up really quickly. We were stuck on 3 bases. 4th base is late. Now we're working towards Sky Toss. Does feel a little bit messy here from NightMare, and it does mean that Rogue is looking very comfortable. Like Rogue, he's about to max. He's about to max out. Rogue, he is chilling right now. Now getting into Lurker tech. We have +2 on the way. Hive as well, that'll be for Vipers. Or just for Lurker upgrades. And yeah, this overall style from NightMare, it just looks really indecisive here. Or maybe scared that Rogue would roll in at some point. But because of that, NightMare has fallen behind. Because of not what Rogue's done, but because of NightMare's overall build. And there we go, now Lurkers are on the high ground, they're zoning away the army. Nice revelation on some of these Lurkers, but we have more Lurkers coming in even from behind. Lurkers, they threaten a dive, there is no observer, we're relying on revelations. They're relying on purely revelations. More Lurkers moving in. Just fully zoning back the army. Tempest are revealed. But it kind of pushes these Lurkers. Not like this. Not without Immortals. Not without a more robust army. And Rogue forcing his way into the natural. Oh my god, the blink gets punished. The Lurkers moving in. And Rogue is just forcing his way into that natural base. Now these Tempests are getting a lot of free damage. They're doing well for themselves. Rogue, he could just switch into Vipers, but no, we're going into the Spire. Going into Corruptors. And Rogue, he hasn't dealt any economic damage. Like, the position here is good, but now with the Tempest coming out, NightMare, he's going to hold. He should be able to hold on. Oof. Still some brutal losses when it comes to the main army. Yeah, Sizing Spies has completed, and now Rogue, he finally backs off. He backs off, he pulls away. NightMare does hold. And that was quite committed here by Rogue. And again, he traded with the army, but he did nothing to the economy. NightMare, he's somewhat in this. I mean, he did lose a lot. I'm afraid to look here. That was what? That was 11 Stalkers, an Archon, a High Templar, a lot of Zealots. Took down the Cybercore, has to be rebuilt. And what's scary here, one, there's no threat of a counterattack. NightMare doesn't have the army to counterattack. And Rogue is on 88 drones. So Rogue, he can remax. He can do that again. Now, thankfully, he isn't only stuck on Hydra Lurker. Thankfully, he is, investing in upgrades. The Spire is done. He has the option to eventually go into Corruptors, but he doesn't want to go into that too soon. If we're waiting for upgrades, we don't want to go into 0-0 Corruptors and lose an army here against a Tempest. So still committing here with a ground force. Now we have a couple of Corruptors on the way. Rogue is moving in. NightMare out of position, forced to respond. Lurkers have arrived. At the same time, Rogue going for a split push, heading towards the fourth base. And the fourth, it's going to go down. And NightMare is being pulled apart, and a big part of this is he just doesn't have the supply. The army size is just so small here for NightMare. He just doesn't really have much to work with, and the reason for that is just because of how late the fourth base was. And then meanwhile, 30 probes going to be going down. Brutal damage. The economy wasn't there to begin with, and now Rogue, he makes sure that it's just never going to be there. And Rogue, yes, he does lose a bunch of Lurkers. 11 going down in total. But that's been worth it. It was worth it here for Rogue. And now it's time for Corruptors. Let's go. Now it's time for those Corruptors. It's going to be Lurker Corruptor Ling. There are 6 Tempests. The Tempest count is looking quite healthy. What about the support though? Tempests on their own, they don't really threaten too much. That's what we need. Void Rays, or Stalkers, or Archons. Oh, or Storm. Oof, speaking of, High Templar gets picked up. Nice Storm here on the Corruptors. Yeah, some decent Storms. Archon's going to be coming in. Corruptors, they cannot fight on their own. As you see, and as we mentioned, like, you need that ground support for the Tempest. NightMare does bring it all together. Behind this, he's still trying to resaturate. He's trying. As Rogi's remaxed, he wants to go for the dive. Collapse on the mothership. Even just going for the Tempest. Nice spread here with the Corruptors. And the Tempests are going down. Now, once it were 6, now down to 2. 2 Tempests left. And Rogue, he trades out some Corruptors, trades out some Lings, backs up, and rebuilds. And he maintains that Lurker army. Likewise, Mothership is going to be hunted down. NightMare, he just hasn't been able to build up an army this entire game. Just time and time again, the economy just has not been there. If given more time, NightMare will eventually max out, but again, he needs a lot more time for that. Now on the plus side, Rogue, he invested into 16 Corruptors, and there actually isn't much in the sky. Not anymore. It's mainly a ground army, and now it's all about the Lurkers, but there's still plenty of them. Speaking of, Zealot Ramaizer will distract. I mean, Zealot Ramaizer can be difficult to deal with, for sure. Can be difficult. Oh! Because they do zone away. Do zone away. Rogue is still maxed. Pushing into all these Archons is not going to be easy. That's where Vipers would usually come into play. It's a very nice supportive unit. But Rogue, he's just brute forcing it. He's just brute forcing it at this point. Cells take it across the map. Once again, distracting some of the reinforcements. Lurker gets into the mineral line. And once again, Rogue, he finds himself on the high ground. Oh no! The High Templar, no one High Templar goes down. He cannot move into this. Not like this. And Lings, yeah, now they have free reign, free access to the natural. Again, this position is brutal. Lurkers are everywhere. And now they move down, they find an opening into the mineral line. Tempests are exposed. Rogue, he almost gets one. Oof. And punishing the High Templar. Zealot Rambai does get across the map. 41 probe kills. Hi, and here comes a dive. He gets one, he gets two, he gets three. Takes on 3 Tempest. Base goes down, and NightMare is down to 1 final expansion. And again, from almost the beginning of the game, NightMare has been on the back foot. He just hasn't been able to recover. Hasn't been able to stabilize with a decent economy. It just hasn't been there. And Rogue looking solid. Looking solid. GG gets called, and Rogue, he will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the winners match. GG. GG, well played. Rogue, he will claim it. NightMare, I mentioned before that NightMare, he has been very inactive and he hasn't really been playing in too much, and I feel like that series kind of showed it. Mainly game 2. Like game 2 was very... NightMare seemed very frazzled. He seemed very frazzled in game 2, like it was a little bit disjointed. Remember, it was a late forge, faster Templar archives, into gases at the 3rd base. It was very tech heavy, but a late 4th base as well, so like it was... Yeah, it felt a little bit disjointed. It felt the way that he was playing, in my mind, makes the most sense if he believed that Rogue was going for an all-in of some kind. If Rogue was being aggressive, if Rogue was being assertive, then everything would make sense, because then we have early Storm and we have early Blink, right? And with that early Storm, you can shut down like a 3-base Roach Ravager all-in, or like a 3-base Ling Hydra all-in. If there was like a 3-base all-in, NightMare would have been fine. But because Rogue was just droning and just playing standard, NightMare fell behind. Like without even Rogue attacking, like NightMare fell behind because he was just playing very safe on 3 bases, and it allowed Rogue to easily join up to 80. He joined up to 80 real fast and real quick, and yeah, from there Rogue looked very comfortable. GG, well played. So a bit of a misread there from NightMare. Did set him in a really difficult position, and with that we have some updates. With that, we have our winners match. Let's go. As we had some relatively fast series here. I'll be honest, from the top we had Maru. Maru took down Trigger 2-0 with non-stop 2-base all-ins, and here in game 2 we had Rogue take down NightMare 2-0 as well. Likewise, with also some more unorthodox play from NightMare specifically. And with that, we have our matches. We have our winners match coming up next. It's going to be Maru versus Rogue to determine who makes it first into the next round, into group stage 2, into the round of 8. And likewise, we will then have the elimination match to determine who will be the first player out of group B. Will it be Trigger or NightMare? Yet to be determined. We'll find out. We'll find out. For now, we're going to be going on a short break. Again, we're halfway through the broadcast, so we're going to be going on a short break. When we come back, we will have that ZvP between Maru and Rogue. Let's go. Let's go. I'm looking forward to it. Take this time to get some snacks, get some food, get some water, drain your disruptors, massage your marines, and we'll be back soon with that Zerg versus Terran. See you soon. See you soon.